Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Wuthering Waves tier list. Yes, it has been quite a while since we last made one. I think it was like version 3.0 or something, but it's safe to say that the meta in the game has evolved enough to a significant degree for us to have a pretty helpful discussion here over what's actually the subject area for today. And that subject area is going to be very simple because it's going to coincide with what's likely going to happen during Wuthering Waves' second anniversary. Yes, the second anniversary over here was a time where we had a bunch of different banners that were live at once. It's a lot of different characters available. And what better time for us to do a bit of a breakdown on who the best possible characters are going to be for somebody that may be pulling on a bit of a budget. Because today's focus is, of course, going to be on the best free-to-play limited units in the game. And unfortunately, what you're going to see on here is pretty much like every single character that's ever been made. So it's safe for me to do a couple of assumptions over here as you go on this sort of like free-to-play value judgment. So basically, the assumptions are going to be is that you have every standard character available at minimum S0 because you're able to get a bunch of standard characters for free from like the beginner events, maybe the maybe like the launch compensation, all of that, alongside every single 4-star, aside from like Bu Ling being S6 on your account, because Wu Wa doesn't have a lot of 4-star units. You can actually kind of see we've got like, I think like 10 or 11. Yeah, there's like 10 or 11 4-star units, and you rotate through 3 of them on every banner. So it's very, very, very likely that you have most, if not all of them at S6 by the time your account is like 6 months old. I think that's just something that ends up happening. So we are going to assume that you have the relatively strong power levels, right, of specific 4-star units at S6, like, well, let's just say a good old, like, Danjins, or like a Sanhua, where you get those 20% attack buffs to the entire team. That's going to be the assumption that's going to be available. So, yeah. Second, we are going to be judging characters based off of whether or not they feel like they really need a signature weapon. And if that's the case, then their rating is going to be dropped down accordingly, especially if they're a unit that doesn't have a lot of good options outside of their signature. However, if a character has good options that are also another character signature, then it won't be as bad of a bump down. And of course, characters that can use standard weapons very well are going to get a bump up. So without further ado, I don't necessarily think we're going to need to get too crazy with the categories over here. We might delete 1 or 2 as we kind of go through, but I think we're ready for this one. And I think the order that we're going to go down is going to actually be by reverse release, starting off with good old Sigrika down here, and then moving through the rest of it pretty sequentially. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get this tier list started. The first unit that we're going to be having up is Sigrika. And I'm just going to be honest over here. I don't think I need this category. I'm just going to get rid of E. I'm going to put her down here. And the reason for this is kind of simple. If you don't have Quiyuan, you are in some major fucking trouble. Because the way that Sigrika works is very simple. She essentially mandates through her first or her second inherent skill over here, as well as some of the mechanics in her forte circuit. She basically mandates that you have a person on your team that can cast 4 echo skills. And if that's something that you don't have, she essentially misses out on 60% damage bonus. Yeah. If you don't have Quiyuan, she loses 60% of her damage bonus. And that essentially means she's not usable to pretty much any degree at all without serious drops in her performance, even with all of these 4-star options that I talked about over here, right? The Sanhuas, the Danjins, all of those. This 20% attack buff that you're seeing for an S6 4-star is not enough to make up for that fact. However, there are some concessions that are able to be made when it comes to Sigrika, and that's the fact that she doesn't actually need a specialized sort of support. And by support, I mean the person that plays that role, like a shorekeeper, a Verena, or even in certain situations, right, an Arrow Rover. Yes, Sigrika can work with Arrow Rover. Yes, Sigrika can work with Verena. Yes, Sigrika can work with shorekeeper. And so this initial placement of C down here, I'm gonna be honest, it truly does depend on how willing you are to pull Quiyuan, because she essentially has a partner tag. And by a partner tag, I mean if you don't have this unit, if you don't have Quiyuan, she's easily a C. She's like kind of shit. She could even be considered D if you don't have Quiyuan. But if you do have her and you have Quiyuan, she's easily at an A. So that's kind of the situation, right? Her ranking truly depends on how willing you are to pull him. But the issue is, right, is that Quiyuan is a dude. And I don't know what it is with like Wuthering Waves players and like being scared of men in the game, but because he's like a male character, there's always going to be that additional sort of insight that we're going to need to have, right, on the team comps that certain characters can be run with. However, there's one undeniable fact about Sigrika and about her performance. She is probably actually the strongest DPS character in the game. And by strongest, I mean she's the best overall in both game modes. Because she's about, with Sigrika and Shorekeeper, like 1 or 2% worse than Aemeath in her best in slot team. Yes, I'm not fucking joking about that. Sigrika is like 1 or 2% worse than Aemeath, and barely worse than Phrolova in Whimpering Wastes. However, if you try using Aemeath in Whimpering Wastes, you'll be like, oh fuck, this is not very good. And if you try using Phrolova in TOA, well, you don't really feel as strong as you do in Whimpering Wastes because a lot of Phrolova's benefits, right, like her stagnation and her grouping, well, they don't work against boss enemies, right? It's just not really a thing that happens. And so as the end result, I do think that Sigrika actually has the comfortable role of being, well, legitimately the strongest 5-star DPS in the game because she also has, like, it's just, well, I'm gonna be honest here, at a high level of investment, she's fucking nuts, and all you really need is S0R1 and a Quiyuan to help, you know, actually activate her kit. However, even with that absurd level of strength, I think it's fair to put her in, like, the A or B tier. We might, like, revisit this because, like I mentioned before, she is the strongest unit in the game overall. That's my opinion, and so I am gonna recognize that. The other thing that's bringing her ranking up is the fact that she doesn't actually mandate her signature to have a good level of performance. And the reason for that is simple. Pulsation Bracer's good. Yeah, Pulsation Bracer's just a good weapon. Like, I'm gonna be real here. At max level, right, it provides a standard level of attack, and of course, a standard amount of crit rate. A good example to use, like, in place of it is just like Luke's signature. It has the same stats as these. And you basically just get the 12% attack bonus too. So essentially, this weapon over here, when combined with like a Quiyuan and stuff like that, you kind of just need a limited character and another limited character, and now you're piloting one of the best teams in the game. That's kind of like it, because it's very easy to get this thing, because this game like just shits out standard pulls like fucking crazy, and I'm pretty sure everyone has gotten more than enough by 3.2 to get a copy of a standard weapon like this. So yeah, she works just fine on this bad boy, and so because of that level of affordability, you can just use her with Farina, and this is the kicker over here. Sigrika can reach 100% crit rate or close to it without a Shorekeeper. So running her with Farina is also completely fucking viable because, as you can see, right, the signature that I'm using over here on her, it gives critical damage. So I'm at 77.3 with a crit rate forecast, and then with her Echo set activated too, I'm at 97.3% crit rate. I shouldn't actually be using Shorekeeper on her team, because then I would have 110%. And as you can see, her crit damage is not falling behind. Get this fucking thing out of the way. Her crit damage is not falling behind either. So you can kind of see what's going on. She has a very, very high level of power. And you also don't need to necessarily use Shorekeeper as well to have her at pretty much full strength. So yeah, I think she comfortably belongs in A because she does necessitate Quiyuan. Her power level without him is dog shit low, but you could still get really, really affordable results out of her. So yeah, I think that's really just it. Yeah, overall strongest DPS and has solid free-to-play options, so I can't really, I can't really shit too much on her, even though people probably are skipping her. All right, now let's move on to Luuk Herson. I'm sorry, guys. There's probably a lot of you upset out there that you are seeing a male character in tier S, but the reason for this is extremely simple. Luuk Herson is actually quite similar to how he operates with, like, compared to Sigrika, but the fact with Luuk Herson is that he can fully pop off with the free units that you get within like 5 minutes of starting the game. Sorry, within like 5 days of starting the game. Luuk Herson has the amazing synergy of working very, very, very well with Sanhua. Because Luuk Herson is somebody where like 99% of his fucking damage is basic attack damage. And guess what Sanhua buffs? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she buffs basic attack damage on her outro skill. And she has one of the best 4-star kits in the game, Walking Echo skill. And then she has that big buff on S6 too. The end result is that Sanhua essentially is one of the, like I said before, the best overall 4-star in the game, and she works perfectly alongside Luuk Herson. Luuk also has the big benefits of, well, he doesn't really need Lynae. He doesn't really need somebody on his team to apply Toon Strain for him. It helps, and it's nice, but the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, he also works perfectly fine with Verena. Yep, he works perfectly fine with Verena, and you can get her for free from the beginner rewards. And so Luuk also has access to this weapon over here, Pulsation Bracer. And guess what it does? Increases attack by 12%, has the same stats as the Sig, 587 base and like 24% crit rate, and dealing damage to targets under Toon Strain Interfered grants 6% basic attack damage. Remember what his main attack type is? Basic attack damage? So this weapon is made for him. He also applies Toon Strained as well with his attacks. And so all you basically need to do to have an end game ready team is pull one unit and then get this weapon from the standard banner. Yes, he's not that great in Whimpering Wastes. That's a fact. He can get clearable scores in Whimpering Wastes, especially with the Verena Sanhua team, but he's not that great in the game mode. But he fucks the TOA with just this level of investment, and he also fucks End State Matrix DPM, that's the old name, which is actually the third endgame mode in this game that's releasing in a couple of days. That's why he's tier S. Yes, he might not be the best Whimpering Waste character ever, but does that matter when all you need to do is pull just him? You don't even need a signature. You just need to pull him. And you have a guy that's going to conquer both game modes. 2 out of 3 of the end game modes in the game. And if you sweat enough, you can work in the third. I don't really think anybody can dispute the value over here. He's probably the most affordable team that has ever existed. And he's extremely strong as well in that very, very, very affordable team. However, he's a dude. And so the only reason that people can really have to, well, say to not pull him is because he's a dude. Drop him 1 tier because he has a Y chromosome. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because I'm not retarded. And so, yes, not a very strong Whimpering Waste character, but he's a literal 1-cost army. You pull him, you get the standard 5-star, you pair him up with your free Sanhua, who's probably at S6 by now, and then you stick him with a Verena, and he will go fuck everything in the game. That's pretty much it. There's not really too much else you really need to talk about there. Remember, this is the free-to-play value list. And so, he's not going to be the strongest character in Weewall. He's not going to be the strongest character in TOA. He's really, really close in TOA. Probably will be once he gets us like 5-star premium buffer, but there's nobody else that can get it done on a budget like him. And that's why he's being recognized over here. Now, we're going to have Aemeath. And, this is going to be the sad reality of Aemeath, ladies and gentlemen. And I think this is going to be a situation that I think a lot of people might be upset by. She's either at the top of A. Yeah, I think she just has to kind of be at the top of A. And I think the reason for this is kind of simple, guys. Aemeath requires teammates. She doesn't need her signature weapon. That's something that most people can identify. She's actually very good with Emerald of Genesis, and it's actually her second best in slot weapon. However, if Aemeath doesn't have the right teammates to work with her, her shit is kind of cooked. What are her free-to-play options, ladies and gentlemen? Jiyan, because she's a liberation damage dealer. That's her main damage type, liberation. And she also has 2 resonance modes. One that's Toon Rupture, and the other one is Fusion Burst. Guess who synergizes with her Rupture mode? Yes, Mornye and Lynae. And if you don't have Lynae, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't feel great playing her. However, she has other options if you don't have Mornye and Lynae, but they involve Lupa, who's another premium 5-star unit. The thing with Lynae is that, or the thing with Aemeath, is that to get performance that you're looking for, you kind of need to have other 5-star characters. And remember the other unit that we talked about before that kind of needs other 5-star characters? Oh yeah, it's Sigrika. And I think that having just Lynae for your Aemeath is enough. So isn't it fair that we kind of put them in the same ranking? Sigrika doesn't really have good free-to-play options. Aemeath doesn't really have good free-to-play options. But Aemeath, I think, gets the bonus of having a fuck ton of teams. And of course, being better than Sigrika with ELG than she is with Pulsation Bracers. Nah, because Sigrika without Quiyuan is literal dog shit. Okay, how good is Aemeath without Lupa or Lynae or Mornye? How good is Aemeath with Verena and a free-to-play buffer? Are we just not going to talk about that? Oh, okay, so Aemeath has a 5-star unit. We're going to assume that, but Sigrika can't have one. Okay, yeah, awesome reasoning. So, like I said before, there's a reason why I should stop looking at chat because all the comments are retarded. Aemeath is a top-tier TOA DPS. Aemeath is unfortunately also not as good as Sigrika and Wiwa. But the reason why I'm going to put Aemeath over Sigrika is because she has a lot more expansion options. Sigrika is hard tied to having Quiyuan on her team, and that's never going to change in the future, so you have to pull him if you want her to be good. Aemeath has the great potential of working alongside Lupa, working alongside Lynae in her Rupture mode, right? But then she's also going to have a third team coming up in the future with her Fusion Burst mode. That is undeniable as well. So Aemeath has the option of basically not just a fork in the road when it comes to her investment. She has like a fucking trident, with one being Mono Fusion, the other being Rupture, and the third being, of course, I don't even know why I'm doing this, right? The third being Fusion Burst. Fusion Burst sub DPS isn't out yet. We got the Foam Shores, like the whatever, the chromatic whatever fucking shit. We got that coming up in a future version. But that's going to be your third option to invest in. And I think that the flexibility for you to be able to pull a wider variety of characters, even though she is pretty reliant on needing a premium 5-star, that's what's going to give her the edge over Sigrika. And this is also the thing. There's also some speculation involved in here, because Aemeath's Fusion Burst mode is supposed to be better in AoE. However, the team's not complete yet, so it's just shit everywhere. And so the idea is that her Fusion Burst mode is probably going to be better in Wuthering Waves, and maybe worse than her Rupture mode in TOA. And don't worry, Kuro Games themselves in her character breakdown said the Fusion Burst mode's for AoE and this one's for single target. This is not leaker saying it. Kuro themselves in her fucking character release page said Fusion Burst is for AoE. But we just haven't seen the potential of it yet because the team is just dog shit. Because it doesn't have the sub DPS. All you have is Chisa and it's doo-doo water. So yeah, that is the situation ongoing with her. And I'm going to put her at A for now, because like I said before, she doesn't have any real 4-star options. Hopefully the reasoning there makes sense. Like I said before, this is the free-to-play tier list. And if a unit doesn't really feel like they function without having a team of limited 5-stars with them, I don't really think that they're going to be considered a very good free-to-play option. And that's a fact. Now, let's go ahead and start moving on. We got Mornye. And this one's going to be a bit rough. Mornye, as of now, I think she's a B for free-to-plays. Maybe even a C. And the reason for this is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Mornye needs 5-star options to not be worse than Verena and Shorekeeper. Because she directly synergizes with... Mornye's entire purpose, right, is for her to synergize with other characters, right, that apply Toon Straight. Look at this over here. Targets affected by Toon Rupture interfered or Toon Straight interfered take increased damage from all nearby resonators in the team. This is like kind of the only actual damage buff in her kit. Who applies either of these debuffs? 5-star units. So Mornye basically does not have this function of her kit without having another 5-star unit on the team. However, Mornye has the incredible synergy of A, being a fusion unit who has an outro skill that looks like this, and that also means that Mornye is able to synergize very well with Lupa. And she has ascended mono fusion to like a whole different level as a result of that. But this is the thing, right? Lupa's another 5-star unit. So Mornye only really works right now with like her, and him. However, when she's combined with Lynae, they basically create the ultimate wheelchair duo in the game, where most of the team's damage actually comes from Lynae and Mornye toon breaking the enemy on Rupture mode. And you're effectively able to slot a corpse into the third team slot and still get some pretty reliable results, especially with the fact that Lynae just gives 15% all damage amplification. You combine that with Mornye, and you just get 40% all damage amplification to any unit in the game. 25% over here, right? And then 15% over here. And if you're a Liberation damage dealer, nice, you get an additional 25% on top. So 65% for Liberation damage dealers, 40% for every other unit in the game. And with Lynae on the team, right, you will get the interfered markers 40% damage bonus. So 40% amp and then 40% damage bonus to any unit in the game. And you combine that with the fact that Lynae also has this 24% buff as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right? Maybe that's enough for you to be able to bump it up. That's why I'm actually going to put Mornye in B. However, her being in B is essentially dependent on whether or not you pull Lynae. If you don't pull Lynae, she's like a C or D. However, if you do, well then great. You now have the ultimate wheelchair duo. But the unfortunate thing is, right, the wheelchair duo can only be used on one side in Whimpering Waves, right, on the hardest level. And it can only be used on one team in DPM. It, however, can be used twice in the TOA. So that's the little bonus that it has. TOA is actually the strongest place for the wheelchair duo because it can be used twice, but you can only use it once here, and you can only use it once here. So I'm not rating the wheelchair duo to be that strong because its use cases are kind of fucking limited. And so you're really only going to be pushing one DPS through in either of these modes. That is the unfortunate part. And you want to know what the most unfortunate part is about the wheelchair duo? And also why I'm not going to be rating it that high? Who uses the wheelchair duo the best in the game? It's Aemeath. Yeah, she's the best user of the wheelchair duo. And so if you're giving Aemeath her best team, then your wheelchair duo is fucking gone. So do you see why I think it's overrated? Do you see why I'm not really valuing it that much? Because you're probably just going to use it with Aemeath anyways. And the end result is like, well, then all that flexibility that you had from it is completely fucking pointless. And that's the unfortunate result, guys. Mornye needs other characters. She might be the most teammate-reliant unit in the game because of those restrictions built in. But do you want to know who's not teammate-reliant? Yeah, this bitch. She's crazy. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Mornye does have the nice benefit, though, of having a 4-star weapon being close to her best in slot. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to a signature. It can actually be better because it speeds up your rotation, blah, blah, blah. She's got a 4-star weapon, so that's like her weapon or like needing a weapon, a signature is not going to drag her down. But I don't think being able to use Discord is enough to bump her up because she's still very, very, very teammate reliant. So yeah. Now, moving on to Lynae. I'll just pretend she was down here. Yeah, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Lynae is probably the best overall free-to-play sub-DPS in the game. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Because, like I mentioned before, right? She's got that all-attribute, all-damage amplification on her outro skill, and then she has a 24% all-attribute damage buff on her liberation. Yeah. And then she also has a set that buffs attack a lot based off a tomb break boost of the recipient of her outro skill. Oh, and guess what she does? Why is her kit so long, bro? This is actually fucking diabolical, bro. I'm just trying to find her buff to tomb break boost. She gets 40 points of tomb break boost to the entire team when she uses visual impact, which is her main nuke in her kit, which you use every rotation. Then her set over here literally buffs attack based off a tomb break boost, and it gives a fuck ton of attack as well. 30% to be exact, which is a lot more than Moonlit Clouds. The end result is that if you're an attack scaling unit in this game, this character kind of just is extremely strong and can be used in any team. Virtually any team. And while Mornye kind of feels a necessity to have Lynae on her team to really feel good, or Lupa, Lynae can be used with Verena. Lynae can be used with Shorekeeper. Lynae can be used with like fucking Arrow Rover in some situations, right? And it's just fine, right? She's just good. And then the other part is her signature is one of the most unrequired things in the game because you could just put Static Mist on her, which A, loosens her ER requirements so she's even easier to build, and B, further buffs her attacking ability. So with this, she just buffs the incoming Resonator's attack with her set by 45%, with mine being R3, while her signature gives 24% all attribute damage bonus to the entire team. Well, great, right? 15% attack versus 24. There's a gap, but the gap's not really that fucking wide, right? So it's like, she really doesn't need her Sig. Honestly, her Sig is one of the worst investments I've ever made in the fucking game, but I just felt like getting it because I thought it was... I regret getting it. Let's just say that. You could just use Static Mist on her, and it's perfectly, completely, absolutely fucking fine. And so she has the weapon options covered. She's got the general buffing ability covered. She works with almost every single unit in the fucking game. I don't think there's any dispute here. I think she's just a little bit broken, to be honest. The only downside to Lynae is that her personal damage is pathetic. Yeah, she's mainly just a buffer. She might have some of the worst personal damage out of all sub-DPS characters in the game. And so one thing you have to do when you're playing with her is that your DPS needs to be well invested in. Have like good crit ratios, good echoes, all of that, because she's not going to be able to do like a solo lifting job because her personal damage is so bad. That's kind of just an unfortunate fact. She's a walking buffer, basically. She kind of feels like Sanhua, but like on steroids. The other thing is that she does have a way to deal personal damage, but that's with Mornye. But like I said before, the wheelchair team has its own restrictions because you can't really even use it that often, right? And again, they're probably just using it with Aemeath if you do have the wheelchair team even ready to go. So yeah, that's going to be the placement over here. Now, we got my favorite unit in the history of the game. We got Chisa. Fuck this character. Bro, this unit is so shit. It is unbelievable. She was not a good pull on release, and she's still not a good pull now. Bro, they made such a massive mistake releasing this unit when they did because she's so useless, it's crazy. Bro, she's so bad, it's crazy. Not only is she one of the most signature reliant units in the game, she still only has one team. And if you don't have her signature, bro, she's not even good. She's worse than Arrow Rover because this is the only team Chisa has in the game. Like I said before, the Fusion Burst team is not complete, so there's no point in even playing it. This is the only team she has. But guess what, bro? If she doesn't have her signature weapons, she's worse than Arrow Rover. The other thing is that Arrow Rover can, like, not really have a build. They could, like, have, like, half an Echo set and a Slim Jim and still get their job done. Chisa has to have a full build. Like, this is my build on her, bro. The set is low-key diabolical, right? 80%, 276 point... I'm not gonna lie, I kind of popped the fuck off with this one, right? Nuts! You also need to have her Sig, too. And then she's like a 5% improvement over the absolutely free Arrow Rover. She's supposed to get better, right? Because I think a lot of people think Hiyuki, the other Japanese Glacio swordswoman coming out very, very, very soon for the anniversary, is going to be Glacio Chafe. I pray she is so this person gets a fucking team. And yes, Aemeath has the Fusion Burst mode, but it's so bad, it's unbelievable. It's so trash, it's unbelievable, so you don't even play Chisa in this team unless you, like, just want to see your Aemeath do way less damage than she does on this mode. And that's the truth regarding her. She is probably not going to be pullable until after, like, 3.3 or 3.4. And this unit came out in 2.8, and she still only has one team. Bro, hasn't it been like almost half a fucking year since she came out, and she's still at the same spot in the meta, which is not even close to a must pull. She's so shit. She has such a bait, it's unbelievable. She was meant to be the shorekeeper of negative statuses. And it's very clear when you read her kit. Yes, that's what she does. But there's still only one negative status team in the fucking game. So it's kind of just like, what are we doing here? I don't even know why she had a rerun in 3.1 when they aren't releasing the Fusion Burst sub DPS. So you're not even going to use her with Aemeath. Enough said. Hopefully you get why she's here. I expect her placement to rise very fast, very quickly. But bro, if you're actually trying to tell people she's a good pull right now, you're just lying. And if you were trying to tell people she was a good pull in 3.1, you're just lying. She's bad. Really bad. Terrible in value. She does technically make the Cartithia team better, but if you're judging by free-to-play worth and whether or not a free-to-play should pull it, just fucking use Arrow Rover and, like, just move on. Because you're pulling a character and their signature to be, like, 4 or 5% better, and then you also gotta build them a crazy Echo set at the same time. Doo-doo water. Absolute doo-doo water. Moving on. That's where stuff started getting a little bit crazy, guys. We got Quiyuan. I think he might actually be in tier S. I'm not joking. I think he might actually be a tier S character now. And the reason for this is simple, ladies and gentlemen. And this might piss some people off. He's very good now because he supports the two best teams in the game, Phrolova and Sigrika. And so by pulling him, you now have an essential teammate for other units. He is not tier S. He needs Phrolova or Iuno or Sigrika. Oh, sorry. Should I just use Lynae without a DPS then? Are you saying that that's a viable conversation to have? Just use Lynae without a DPS. The implication of a sub DPS character is that they have a DPS unit. And if a sub DPS supports two of the best teams in the game, that's where a lot of their value is going to come from. And so, as we fill out category S a lot more, he's going to be closer to the end over here. And I'm also going to talk about his other levels of versatility as well. Because, remember what I said about Lynae? She does no fucking damage. And she cannot be a main DPS to any degree. Quiyuan can also be a main DPS at S0. A viable one as well at S0. So A, he buffs two of the best teams in the game, and he also has main DPS potential as well. And don't worry, guys. He's below. He's below these other characters. That's why he's at the end over here. Anyways, so all I've done is place the unit, and we already have chat schizoing the fuck out. Let's talk about why I'm putting him here for now. Maybe let's wait for the reasoning first before obviously saying that I'm already wrong. So, like I mentioned before, Quiyuan currently supports two of the best teams in the game. And that is with Sigrika and Phrolova. People also seem to be forgetting this other very, very, very convenient fact about him. He also supports a third DPS in the game. Did you guys just forget that this is a team as well? Right, that was like the trick I was playing on you guys. I only mentioned two of them. He actually has a third DPS he supports. And you guys seem to have forgotten that he also supports Galbrena. And guess what happens when Quiyuan is supporting these characters? He doesn't need his fucking signature. Yes, you can just pop him on EOG just like everybody else, and he will pop off as a sub DPS for Galbrena, for Phrolova, and for Sigrika. Because his buffing ability on his signature isn't actually that much. It's just 20% echo skill damage. It's actually one of the smallest buffs in the game. And so he is literally not sig reliant at all when he's a sub DPS. That's the point. And Quiyuan unlocks basically premium level performance with all of these characters on a budget. Because guess who you put here? You put in this third slot a Verena or a Shorekeeper, right? Great. This team's really good. Great. This team's really good. And if you're going to go ahead and say, Lynae's easy S, right? Lynae is super strong and broken. Bro, are these the teams you're running with fucking Lynae? Are these the teams that you're running with Lynae? Let me just draft them for you. Are you running this? Are you running this shit? Are these your Lynae teams? Because then you would have an argument against Quiyuan using another 5-star unit on it. Is this what you're running? Is this the shit that you're running? Oh, let me go find my... Are you running this? Are these the teams you're running Lynae on? Or are you running Lynae with, like, this? Which is another 5-star unit. Or you're running Lynae with, like, this, which is another 5-star unit. Or you're running Lynae with, I don't know, this, another 5-star unit. Quiyuan literally gives you tier S performance with 3 DPSs in the game on a standard weapon. Just tell me, how is that not tier S? Best in slot on close to best in slot or close to best in slot on 3 teams with a standard weapon. How is that not tier S? Oh, where's all the people that were saying that I was wrong before? Wait, where's all the people that were talking shit before? Wait, where all you at? Why'd y'all stop topping? Did you guys really think Kuro Games, a Chinese company, was gonna make Mr. Where Winds Meet a weak unit? Did you guys really think that the Wuxia MC, the Chinese company Kuro Games, was gonna make the Wuwa Where Winds Meet collab unit weak? Because guess what? His potential can only scale infinitely in the future. Because look at his outro skill. Grant 50% echo skill damage amplification. This means that his value can also only grow unless Kuro refuses to release any more echo skill damage dealers in the game, which they're probably not going to do because it wouldn't make sense to do that, right? And so he also has an incredible amount of scaling as well. Did you also forget that he gives a 30% crit damage buff to the entire team? So he even has like general buffing for this stat as well, and that he also has 30% echo skill damage built into his kit, and that his signature echo set gives 16% echo skill damage as well. This is all why he doesn't need a Sig, because he literally gets 46% to his teammate and his Sig makes it 66. His Sig takes him from 46% bonus to 66. That's why his Sig is so unnecessary, because he has so many fucking strong buffs in his kit. He actually is, on paper, super similar to Lynae. But because Lynae has the Toon Rupture capability, and also Lynae has the more general damage amp, that's why she's going to be higher. She's rated on flexibility. But Quiyuan is a better buffer. She has more flexibility, so that's why I'm rating her higher. But on paper, his buffs are fucking better. And that's just the fact regarding this unit. And yes, I know you're going to get a little bit upset by this, but it's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. So try not to freak out too much. Like I mentioned before, he also has DPS capabilities at S0. I don't even think I need to talk about them to keep him in TRS now. Yeah, hopefully that explanation makes sense, just because I know the idea of a male being up here is going to make you guys schizo the fuck out. All right, now we got Galbrena, and I think we can be fast with this one. I think Galbrena is like a B, bro. I think she's like a B. Yeah, the reason for this is very simple. Aemeath has kind of just come in. Aemeath and Sigrika have just come in and cucked her. Because Quiyuan is better with Sigrika, and Aemeath is better with Monofusion. So the kind of like only role that Galbrena plays right now is inheriting Aemeath's Monofusion team if she's playing the Toon Rupture team. That's kind of just it. Because Galbrena essentially is completely fucked by the fact that her damage type is split. Yeah, where is she? Where is Galbrena? Yeah, where's this penis head? Like, look at this. Look at this, bro. She looks... Yeah, she's also nerfed by the fact that if you look at her from behind, what does that look like to you? Anyways. So that's what she looks like the back silhouette. This is all you see when you're playing her, so that's why she's like one of the least pulled units in the game. Her damage type is cooked because it's a split damage type. It is a split damage type. And so the end result is that she operates the best in the Monofusion teas, where you just get better overall buffing on just fusion damage as a whole via Lupa and Mornye. However, Lupa and Mornye work better with Aemeath. And so Galbrena is essentially just a sloppy seconds character who just inherits the team comp that other better DPS units aren't using. That's kind of just it. Because if Aemeath's playing Toon Rupture, okay, great. Galbrena gets to play Monofusion. Woohoo! Right? Oh, Sigrika is not on your account and you have Quiyuan free. Great. Galbrena gets Quiyuan. Woohoo! But you also have to not have Phrolova either, because Phrolova also wants this guy. Do you see how like this is like kind of going? It's a bit of a rough situation. And so she kind of exists as like this weird stopgap that deals both heavy attack and also echo skill damage as well. And it's kind of just like the end result is that she kind of doesn't do both that well. However, Galbrena does have the amazing bonus of a really, really, really good standard weapon. So that's why she's not going to be lower rated, but she's definitely not at the level of those other characters, right? Because this is the best standard weapon in the game, Phasic Homogenizer. After anyone in the team uses Tomb Break, gain a 20% all attribute damage bonus. That's super accessible, and it's a signature weapon boost that, well, everyone can activate in the game. You just need to press the fucking Tomb Break button. So, yeah, and the stats on it are amazing. So yeah, she's got great concessions that make her a strong pull, but just know that there are kind of like just better options for both of her damage types and better options for all of her best buffers. And so that just kind of makes her feel a little bit sad. She's always going to be like feeling like she's a little bit worse than other characters. And it's not like she has like some amazing strengths or some amazing variances in her gameplay that make her truly actually stand out. All right, now we got Iuno. And this is where stuff's going to get a little bit interesting. Because Iuno, in my opinion, actually is an A-rated character. And I think she either is behind or in front of Aemeath. I'm not exactly sure. And the reason for this is very simple. Iuno doesn't actually have a lot of units to buff in the game as a sub DPS. Who does she have to buff in the game as a sub DPS? She's got a very, very strong outro skill, right? She has an extremely strong outro skill. That is without a doubt true, right? Take a look at it. 50% heavy attack damage amplification. Very strong, right? But, like, who deals heavy attack damage on the roster? Like, these are your main options. That's kind of like her teammates. And if you're like doing your fucking goofy ass dodge cancels and shit, and you're like implying Galbrena is also a choice, I'm just gonna tell you, bro, no. If you're doing heavy attack Galbrena, just stop. Like, you can do echo skill Galbrena, but you cannot do heavy attack Galbrena, bro. That shit is just goofy. You know it's fucking goofy. That's why you never see anyone running Iuno and Galbrena on the same fucking team. This is where the cookie kind of crumbles over here. She's very, very, very strong with Augusta, but it's also not at the level of being better than like an Aemeath or a Sigrika or any of that. She's good with Augusta, but it's not going to go in and like completely fuck the game like how a Sigrika can do it, like how an Aemeath can do it, etc., etc. So it's not like a tier Giga-S team. And then, of course, her team with Jiyan is also not a Giga-S team. You can, however, get a lot of bonuses from playing her as a main DPS. But guess what? If you're going to play her as a main DPS, you really need premium teammates. Like, you really need premium teammates like, well, Lynae Mornye or like Lynae Shorekeeper to really get it. Main thing is, if you want to play her as a DPS, you really, really do want Lynae on the team as well. But if you're using Lynae with Iuno, then you're sacrificing your sub DPS character and one of the best sub DPSs in the game to go play a single target only team that is not playable in Wuthering Waves at all. If you thought Luuk Herson was bad, try this unit. Her main DPS potential, in my opinion, is very limited, and it does also kind of feel like you want her Sig if you're playing a main DPS, but I do think she can still get the job done with Pulsation Bracer because it is strong as well. But that's kind of like the thing. If you're like pulling Pulsation Bracer to like play her as a main DPS, I feel like you've already lost the plot. It's good, but it's also not like crazy, absurd, ridiculous good. And I guess the thing is that Iuno does have some additional flexibility as like a healer for arrow teams. That's actually why she's strong in lineups like this, right? Where you go like Iuno, Quiyuan, Sigrika. This is a team I play very often, but I'm not going to tell you that this is a fucking free-to-play team, bro. And this is a free-to-play list. Iuno, in my opinion, is one of the best pulls. She's tier S on the fun tier list. Yes, I would rate her probably at the top for the, does this character make the game a lot more fun to play? Absolutely. I think she's one of the best pulls on your account to make Wuthering Waves a more fun game. But for a free-to-play, try to get value out of like the least resources possible, I don't think she's really that high priority. I really don't, because it's not like she's going to slot in and like change everything. And this is a free-to-play value tier list. But if it was a fun one, I think she's up there. And I think based off of what I said, I think I can actually bump her down a little bit. Yeah, she doesn't actually support that many units on a budget. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. And all of the teams where she's a healer are Giga Premium. Now that I've talked about it, I think she could actually be in B if this is free to play. Yeah, no, for her to work as a healer, she needs to have all premium units, like Ciaccona and stuff like that. And then as a DPS, she doesn't have any free-to-play buffers that work well. She has like John Shin, but that team is cope. If you're using her with John Shin, that team is fucking cope and trash, bro, and she's a liberation damage dealer. Nah, no, like with free-to-play options in mind, she's kind of shit, actually. She's kind of shit. And I think I've given all the reasons for why. Yeah, her free-to-play buffer is John Shin, boys. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Have you ever played this team before? Have you ever played this team before? You will want to uninstall, bro. This is her free-to-play team. Bro, it feels so shit to use. It's unbelievable. Like, I would never recommend anyone on God's earth play this team. Never. I tried it before. It's not fun. It's one of the worst feeling teams to play in the game. And that's why I don't recommend it to people. And that also means that it also only works in TOA because it's not usable in WeWa at all. Because, like, dude, if you try using this team in WeWa, you will actually uninstall the game. It's just like, it's just too goofy. Jajin takes too long. It's fucking cursed. Yeah, okay. I think top of B is fair for her. Yeah, I think top of B is fair for her. Honestly, she could be lower, but I feel like you guys are going to start schizoing out. Now we got Augusta. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. I think she's going to be comfortably behind Luuk Herson. And the reason for this is very simple. She's good in this lineup with Mortefi, because Augusta deals pretty much only heavy attack damage, and Mortefi is a heavy attack buffer who works very well with Static Mist, right? However, I will say her weapon options don't work as well as Luuk, but she's also better in Wuthering Waves, so they could honestly be like tied. The big thing about Augusta over here is this fact. She can work on the new standard Broadblade because it gives an attack buff, and it also has good crit stats. This is enough for her to operate. However, you gotta play pretty well and have good investment if you want to clear with Mortefi on this. It's not the same level of Luuk Herson, where Luuk Herson actually has a fucking weapon effect that she can use. And if you're running this on Augusta, you better have some good fucking echoes on her if you're going to be using her with Mortefi. That's kind of the alternative over here. And if you're going to be using Augusta with this and Mortefi, you might run into some problems. I'm going to be entirely real with you. But if you have her signature, then yeah, she's 100% Giga viable with Mortefi, no issues at all. But if not, that's where she loses some of the flexibility. Luuk Herson, though, the reason why I'm going to place Luuk above her is because Luuk actually benefits from this effect because he can fully activate it, and Augusta cannot with the new standard Broadblade. So that's kind of like the situation going on over here. I will say, though, yeah, Luuk with Sanhua definitely just feels... Luuk with Sanhua and the standard weapon definitely just feels stronger. I think she could actually be below Quiyuan, especially if we are rating off of how much characters feel like they sort of need their Sig. If you're using her with the most budget options possible, you do kind of feel like you want her Sig. So yeah, that's why she's gonna be at the bottom of S over here. However, getting a character signature is a lot easier than getting a character teammate. Right? That's why she's going to be above Aemeath, because it's way easier to get Augusta's signature than it is to get one of Aemeath's teammates, because there's no 50-50. So yeah, that's where the bonus is going to be coming from. 100% weapon banner. All right, now we got Phrolova. She can be above Augusta for one simple reason. Phrolova doesn't really require premium teammates. She works very, very, very well in a wide variety of teams, but Phrolova signature reliant. Or, not really signature reliant. Phrolova is 5-star rectifier reliant because all of the standard rectifiers are fucking shit. Bro, I don't even know what they were doing making this thing. This thing is so bad, it is unbelievable. Like, it is actually a fucking joke. Like, what is this meant to be? Like, and then, like, this one is shit too. Cosmic nipples, bro. Just delete this shit from the game. So, like, Phrolova is one of those characters where you really, really, really want either her signature or you want String Master. And if you have one of those, you're like good. You're ready to pop off. You're ready to fuck everything in the game. Because like Augusta, she doesn't really need that many teammates, but she really, really likes having her Sig. So like, yeah, just that's kind of just it, bro. You really want her Sig. Or String Master. But once you do, bro, you can run like, there's so many teams you can run with her. It's almost unethical how many teams you can run. Like, let me just list them out. You got her, you got the most Giga Premium team, the Giga Havoc one. That's not that good anymore because you could just slot in Quiyuan instead of Roccia. Then you could go ahead and you could just slot in a regular healer instead of Cantarella and then also have a good team. You could also just do, I don't know, this, put in a Dan Jin, and that's also a good team. And then you can also like put in, where else? Havoc Rover in. And that's also like the most free-to-play one. Then you can also do some shit with like Boo Ling or something. My Boo Ling's level 1 because I've never used her. That's also a thing. There's just a lot of opportunities out there for a player to run a bunch of different... you could even run this one too if you're feeling adventurous, though it is kind of dog shit. And that's another thing, right? This character has some of the most teams in the game, and they all perform to an adequate level to clear. It's just the one thing you got to keep in mind is that she is 5-star weapon reliant. And so that's why we're going to be placing her above Augusta. Maybe she could go above Quiyuan, but I will say you do kind of feel like you need something premium to make her work out well. And that's kind of just one of the unfortunate truths about her. But I think we'll put her high enough because she is the best Whimpering Waste unit in the game, and she just completely trivializes the game mode on your account. Much like how a Sigrika can kind of do the same thing if there's Quiyuan. So, yeah, my sort of take on the meta has been to just do this, bro. You just go in, and you run a Phrolova team on one side, and then a Sigrika team on the other, and you just go fuck shit up. Yeah, look at those scores. Just almost 4K on each side, and they're all S0R1 units. So it's just, yeah, they're the queens of Whimpering Waste. Think about it that way. That's kind of the reality over here. And so, yeah, that's where she's going to go. You could swap the placements between these two. However, do keep in mind, if you're running her Giga budget teams, you might struggle a bit on TOA too figure them out. You might have to play a little bit sweaty. But once again, you are playing on a budget there. Now we're gonna have Lupa. You probably already know where Lupa's going. Yeah, I think she might actually be like either C or like B. And the reason for this is very simple. Lupa is the definition of requiring premium teammates. And if you don't have premium teammates, this character like just does not function. This character just does not function. Mono fusion requires you to have either her or Brant and then a third DPS on top of it. She is literally one of the highest investment units in the game to get up and running. She's incredibly strong. She's incredibly powerful, but her kit literally mandates that you cannot have Shorekeeper or Verita on her fucking team. Otherwise, half her buffs don't activate. And that's what most people would understand by now. And on the free-to-play tier list, I don't know how there's so many retards in my chat being surprised by where she placed. How are you all so surprised? It's like you guys are intentionally not listening. When your entire kit is dependent on you having only fusion units, and that implies that the fusion units you're using are other 5 stars, then yes, Lupa is a character that would rate very highly on the fun tier list, but not very highly on the free-to-play tier list because she requires a fuck ton of investment on the character side to get up and running. However, because her baseline buffs are so big, her signature is quite unnecessary because she doesn't really have a bunch of damage in the first place, so her missing her damage buffs is not a big deal. And her 24% fusion damage bonus is nice, but you like don't really need it because you can just use Lustrous Razor to like get the job done for her, right? Or you can just use like the new standard one to get the job done for her too. The point is that she's not signature reliant, but she's so teammate reliant it's unreal. And while Mornye has opened up her team options, well, guess what? Mornye's another 5-star limited unit. So it's kind of just like, yeah, I mean, she could be in B. She definitely could be in B. I think B's a decent spot for her. But like I said before, you need 5-star limited units to make her work. And I'm not going to go ahead and say that her teams are the best in the game either. She has a lot of teams that are high tier, but her team isn't like reaching the top damage levels. And that's kind of just like it. Now we have the situation over here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Carte, and this is the situation. Carte is unfortunately one of the, if not the most signature reliant character in the game, because she essentially mandates that you have 2 things on the roster. A, you have Ciaccona, so she essentially has a partner tag on her. You need Ciaccona, and then you also need her signature. Otherwise, she's not going to function as a character. And while, yes, you do have a free-to-play option with Arrow Rover, a lot of other characters have the free-to-play option of Verena as well to get them up and running. And she can't really use a Verena either, because she needs Arrow Rover's ability to double the amount of erosion stacks that she's dealing to the enemy she's dealing damage to. And the end result is that she is kind of just like functionally a worse version of Sigrika, because Sigrika has the option of using the standard weapon. Carte doesn't. She doesn't. Right? So Sigrika gets a standard weapon that she can use, still has reliance on a teammate. Carte requires her signature and then also requires a teammate. And then is completely locked in the 3rd slot, only having Arrow Rover or Chisa. But if you're free to play, you're not considering Chisa. So Carte has her 3rd slot locked as well. There's no other teammates that can be used. Sigrika's 3rd slot can be, I'm just gonna be honest here, it could be Shorekeeper, it could be Verita, it could also be Arrow Rover too, it could be Iuno. Sigrika has a lot of options in the 3rd slot. So she really only has 1 slot locked on her team, which is Quiyuan. And so the end result, guys, is that like, yeah, she deals less damage than Sigrika too. So how is she not like B below Sigrika? I don't think anyone can like dispute that at that point. She has more restrictions. She's more expensive. She has more restrictions. She's more expensive and she requires her sig. C tier? Oh yeah, now you guys want to nuke her. So this is the thing. There's a reason why she's not going to be much lower than B. It's because she still does a fuck ton of damage. She still deals more damage than like Galbrena, Iuno, all these characters. So yeah, she has all these restrictions, but she still does a lot of damage. It's just these 2 deal more damage than her. And they're more flexible, right? She's still a top tier DPS and she's still going to be able to clear with less investment than other characters. So yeah. People, I guess, forgot that she actually deals like the 3rd most damage in the game. Yeah, she deals like the 3rd most damage in the game. Now, we got Ciaccona. And this is going to be the sad reality of Ciaccona. Ciaccona's super high on my fun tier list. But like, for a free-to-play, I feel like she's actually really bad. The reason for that is simple. You either pull her for Carte or you pull her as like in like triple arrow teams. And if you're running triple arrow teams, or really mono anything teams, you're investing way too many resources into one team for a free-to-play. She's a mono arrow buffer, and mono arrow is like kind of expensive. And so if you're not getting her for mono arrow, you're getting her for one unit in the game, this one. It's really close to Lupa, but I think Lupa has a higher ceiling than Ciaccona, because like Mornye and like all of that, Lupa's buffs are better. So it's kind of like, Ciaccona's really fun though when you run like her with Sigrika and Quiyuan, or like with like Iuno and Jiyan. But listen to the characters' names that I'm putting out. They're fucking triple 5-cost teams. Bro, have you ever seen Ciaccona in like, have you ever seen Ciaccona with 2 4-stars on her team or 2 free-to-play? Wait, what's the fucking team, bro? What are you running with her? And so she's kind of like, again, a cart slave if you're a free-to-play. You can definitely get it done, but it's not like you're going to be using her anywhere else without an insane level of investment. You do have like a couple of sort of budget teams you can run with her, right? But bro, the budget teams are literally like, it's like Ciaccona, Arrow Rover, and Iuno, which is like, I guess one you could use, but it's kind of like suspect because it's a TOA only team. And I guess you could get it done, but then that requires heavy investment on your Iuno to get it done. So it's like, it's just, you guys can probably understand what's going on, right? So yeah, I think that she could easily be in B tier as well, but I think Lupa's buffs are better. And then Lupa also has, well, guess what, guys? Lupa is above Ciaccona because Lupa actually has a free-to-play DPS option. Lupa and Encore can pop off. Ciaccona does not have this. Ciaccona does not have this. She does have Arrow Rover, but like, oh boy, I don't know about that one, man. So yeah, that's why she's gonna get that bonus over here. I don't know, maybe they both just belong in C. Yeah, I think they both just belong in C. Fuck it. Well, I think this is, I think now that we discuss, I think this is just more fair. Yeah, like free-to-play people should not even be pulling these two. They just should not be. Like in general, it's a huge mistake as a free-to-play to pull these two characters, unless you have like a good plan. I don't even think anyone can deny that at this point. All right, now we got Zani. All right, ready to move on? Oh, yeah, let me just get both of these. Actually, no, Phoebe's a different discussion. Do we even need to talk about this? Actually, I'm gonna make a new category for her. There you go. The Z tier. Y'all good? Reason for this is simple. Zani requires Phoebe to function as a unit with the partner tag. And then, like, Zani also is just requires her weapon, too. And, like, Zani also, to a degree, I guess feels like she needs Phoebe's signature as well. I've never seen a unit that has this many hoops you need to jump through to not be shit. I'm sorry, bro. It's just the amount of investment required to get a performance that's below every other unit in the game is just insane. Like, you want her Sig, you want Phoebe as well, you also want Phoebe's Sig, and then, like, sure, I guess Spectral Rover can go in the third slot, but then now you have to play the team like a job. And, like, unless you're doing quick swap, it does less damage than, like, every other team in the game. Even with all those resources. It's just so shit. It's unbelievable, bro. I cannot recommend this team for any person unless you're trying to uninstall the game expediently. Cantarella. Cantarella may be the worst unit pull value-wise. Like, potentially worse than Chisa. And the reason for this is simple. After Quiyuan entered the game, she became probably the worst pull ever. The reason why is because Cantarella only works with Phrolova. While Quiyuan works with Phrolova, and they can be used with a bunch of different units. She is stuck with Phrolova, and it's so bad it's crazy when you try to use her anywhere else. She's basically just a decoration outside of Phrolova teams. And the end result is that she's stuck to Phrolova, but Phrolova isn't stuck to her. And that's kind of like it. She has very few team comps because they're all just Phrolova variants. And anywhere outside of them, she's kind of just worse. So yeah, I'm gonna be real here, man. She's some doo-doo water. She's some straight doo-doo water. Yeah, this is basically the only thing you could run. But it's like, you could just run him. And then, like, run a bunch of other teammates as well. The main benefit that she has is that she, like, heals. But she doesn't do enough damage or have enough, like, buffs to, like, make her healing or whatever even, like, slightly a unique thing. And I think the only use case she has is here. In, like, that Whimpering Waves setup that I showed you. Where you run the most premium Havoc team and the most premium Arrow team you can run. But again, this is not very free-to-play friendly, is this? Nah, this is not what I suggest for any fucking free-to-play player. I just do this because I have every unit in the game. And guess what? That's kind of expensive. So yeah, this is like the only use case I can see for Phrolova and Roccia in the game. Just this. Anything else, you're kind of just griefing. Honestly, I think you're just griefing. All right. So yeah, that's why Cantarella is going to be there. Now we got Brant. I think Brant is a solid B tier. And the reason for that is simple. Brant is one of the most signature reliant units in the game, but Brant also has a fair number of teams, and Brant can also be played as a viable main DPS. So it's kind of like the end result is that I don't think he's exceptionally strong as a main DPS. I don't think he's exceptionally strong as like a non-monofusion character, but for free-to-plays, as long as you're getting his Sig, I do think he can make an impact on your account. Lupa should be higher than Brant. Brant can be used with the Sanhua. That's the thing. Brant can be used with Sanhua and clear TOA. That's something that he's capable of doing. Maybe he belongs in C? Potentially. I haven't really tested how strong or weak his Sanhua teams are nowadays. But I've cleared with Sanhua teams plenty. I mean, I guess I gotta go try it. Yeah, I guess we just gotta go try it real fast. Sure. Why not? Yeah, I'll go take a look. Because he will be like a 2 cost unit. 1.5 cost or something like that then, right? Fine, we'll do 1 run. Hey, we'll make sure it's here too then, bro. We'll make sure it's here too. Where he at? Brant with Shorekeeper and Sanhua. Okay.
I should try to smile more.
Oh boy, she got oh gosh, she got a whole lot of nothing on her. All right, and then my Sanhua ain't even gonna have a build either. All right, let's see how this one goes.
Worry not. Emgress, shackles be gone.
In war with time. Diminish.
Listen carefully. Here's to
A change of perception.
at the helm.
Bro, what is that thing doing? So, this stage is kind of cursed because, I've never, like, bro, that deer got, like, distracted.
Stay calm.
Frozen blockade.
Yeah, bro was frolicking, man.
Astral modulation.
Bro was actually frolicking.
A change of perception.
Epic shot. More passion.
All right, here we go. Boom.
Let the flame
No more
rise.
frolicking, boys.
Same actor, different role.
Vow from the soul.
Shackles be gone.
In war with time.
I don't know. The clear's looking pretty good to me, guys.
At the helm. Victory's mine.
A change of perception.
Climax of the show.
The clear's looking pretty good to me, guys. Oh, this guy is a little bit tanky. And he doesn't have fusion resist. He just has, like, anti... until you, like, apply, like, a tune thing to him, he's, like, kind of tanky.
Stay calm.
Engrave. Lotus pervade.
Lion graft you knew.
Yeah, he's kind of tanky.
At the helm. More passion.
A change of perception.
Epic shot. In the limelight.
Yeah, I'll be honest. The clear, they're looking quite promising to clear.
Listen carefully. Keep the cheer.
Oh, did I lose my outro skill? Oh, that's annoying.
Same actor,
Oh.
different role.
Yeah, I kind of I had a bit of a misplay there.
Diminish.
Like frigid death.
Astral modulation.
A change of perception.
At the helm. Let the flames rise.
Are we gonna get it done here?
Parry.
Did we hit that one or did we miss?
Lotus Pervade.
In war.
Okay, so we just missed an anchor completely. That is tragic, bro. Honestly, this is one of his worst fights, actually, because, yeah, well, that can happen, bro.
A change of perception. At the helm. Climax of the show.
That can happen. So let's just think about it this way. We missed our outro buffed anchor, and that would clear if we didn't miss it. So it clears. I missed an anchor because he teleported at the last second. So it does clear. Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? And remember, that was with a naked Sanhua. So my Brant is relatively high investment. And again, that is with a super affordable team that, like, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to say? That, like, that was a millimeter off with a missed outro buffed anchor. That's with his Sig. I mean, what do you want me to say? Yeah, I think he's bottom of B. Yeah, I think he's bottom of B. It is quick swap. Double intro is not really quick swap. I don't really think so. I got his Forte to 3/4 and then went to Sanhua. Yeah, that if you call that quick swap, I think you might not know the definition of the term. That is not that what I did was not quick swap. That's pretty easily replicatable by I think 90% of the population. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Brant's got free to play options, main DPS. He also has, like, again, sub DPS buffing potential. So it's like, it's not like he's going into being completely useless. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he can be played as a main DPS and the fact that, I mean, he still buffs and he also, like, heals and everything too. Again, he's not an S. He's not like bottom of B, or he's at bottom of B. There's still a bunch of, you do realize, okay, how about you look at who's worse than him? Lupa, Ciaccona, Chisa, Cantarella, and Zani. We're not, like, out here making him, like, the cream of the crop. Maybe we could revisit his placement after you take a look at some of the other characters we got ready to go. All right, so now let's move on to Phoebe. I think Phoebe belongs, like, comfortably. She can clear. She's able to clear. She's got free-to-play options in the form of the fish thing. She's got the fish weapon. But, like, man, it is pretty copium. It is pretty copium. I think she does have some free-to-play teammates that she can use, but there's a cost to running your free-to-play teams. And that's that if you're using Phoebe with Spectral Rover, then you can't be using Rover in other places. And I don't even know if you can get this fish weapon that we're even talking about anymore. Yeah, this thing, Ocean's Gift. Dealing damage to enemies with Spectral Frazzle increases the wielder's spectral damage by 6%. And then you can, like, R5 it as well. I got all the fishes needed to do that. But, like, I haven't bothered because I just got her Sig. Right? You can? Oh, it's a permanent event? Okay, cool. So you can just get the fish weapon for her. So that one is permanent. Okay, great. So, okay, Kuro Games, listen. So you can get that thing. There's no issue at all with obtaining it. But it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Spectral Rover means that you're using Rover or not able to use Rover in other teams. And I don't feel like Phoebe is, like, necessarily overpowered or, like, super strong. It's not on the rewards list. Okay, well, the thing is, like, okay, we're moving past whether or not you can fucking get it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. The thing is that I don't think her performance level is relatively strong, even, like, with it. And, like, if you don't have it, she doesn't really have good options outside of String Master or her own signature. So she does have, like, a blend of, like, signature reliance or, like, another character's signature reliance as well. And so she's kind of, like, I don't even think she's, like, that strong, though. So my personal take is that, like, I feel like she's personally, like, if you're counting her with a Sig, like, she's either, like, here or, like, something like that, bro. Like, I don't even think she's, like, that good. And if you're thinking about her ability to sub DPS and support another unit, don't. Because then that would require you playing her with Zani. Don't. I mean, should I just see if she can still clear? Like, what is she? Yeah, okay. What does she look like with her signature? I should probably at least check it out, like, a single time. I should probably check it out, like, a single fucking time. Surely I've got some nutty stuff, right? Yeah. No, these sets, this set is cracked, bro. Nah, wait, these sets are cracked, bro. Yeah, there we go, right? Yeah, no, this shit is cracked, is it not? Yeah, like this is insane levels of investment. Yeah, let me just see what a good old Phoebe does, like a good old Phoebe even does nowadays. It's been a long time. And I guess, like, what is the free-to-play team you run? Is it just, like, her with, like, Verena? Like, is it just her with, like, fucking Verena, bro? Like, is that a fair one? Or do we... I guess we can... Oh my God, I need to go change Spectra Rover to an actual set, too. Oh my God. This is the annoying part of getting this shit going. You gotta do stuff like this. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. What was I even running on him, bro? Like, was I running Moonlit Clouds? Put Chisa? How about you shut up? How about you just stop typing if you think Chisa is better in this team? You're fucking... You have brain damage, bro. Just stop typing, bro. Let's see it here. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, God. I am not excited for this one. I am not excited for this one.
I sense your weakness.
Bro, oh my God. We didn't even apply the frazzle. Do you see why this why I don't like playing this team? Because basically you need to go onto Rover and then somehow apply their fucking frazzle when, like, bro literally has some of the most pathetic AoE I think in the game, bro.
Astral modulation.
Swift and resolute. The end has come. One with the sound.
Sentinel protect me. Together we maneuver. Be my salvation.
I sense your weakness.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie, this damage is kind of shit. Wait, I don't even think this is getting close to clearing, bro. Wait, this is... I think after this, I might have to upgrade Brant. Sorry, bros. I might have to upgrade Brant after this one.
be my salvation. Together we stand.
I'm even doing, like, the dodge cancels too, bro.
I call upon the sentinel. Ordained.
Strike from the shadows.
Oh, awesome, bro.
War with time.
Swift and resolute. The hour is upon us. No hesitation. One with the sound.
Sentinel protect me. Silence. Together we stand. Repent.
Oh, wait, this guy doesn't have frazzle on him, so there's, like, no point in me attacking him. Oh, nice.
In the name of him, vow from the soul.
Not bad, guys. I don't think we've been even paying.
Astral modulation.
I'm gonna be real, bro. I feel like this is slightly problematic. Bro, how do I even hit him with frazzle, man?
Sentinel protect me. Judgment time. The path is arduous. Shielding others is my beauty. Crystals, give me strength. Together we stand. Ordained.
Strike from the shadows. Moment of resonance.
Lion graft you knew.
Ah!
Swift and resolute. No hesitation. One with the sound.
Sentinel protect me. Answer me.
I don't want to play that team anymore. That team feels so bad. All right, you know what? Why don't we put this to the final test? All right, I'm gonna put in Brant. You know what? We're gonna do a competition here. Who's clearing better? There. This will decide who goes in B and who goes in C.
Worry not.
Shackles be gone.
How did Brant not parry that?
A change of perception.
Epic shot. Climax
There we go. We hit one.
Pew, pew. Ow, careful. Listen carefully. Nice try. Whee! Keep the cheers.
Oh, we missed our fucking... We missed our outro buff there. So at least I have an excuse for the damage not being that good on that first rotation, right?
In war with
What is the excuse for Phoebe dealing no damage over there?
More passion. Pew, pew.
A change of perception.
Epic shot. Let the flames rise.
What is the excuse for Phoebe dealing no damage there?
Listen carefully. Parry. Same actor, different role.
ordained. Worry not.
And grace. Lotus pervade.
Because, I mean, at least you saw, like, something happen there, right?
At the helm.
A change of perception.
Climax of the show. Pew, pew. Listen carefully. Same actor.
Oh, that was kind of crispy, wasn't it, nerds?
Shackles be gone.
Wait, how did she not... Bro, what is this stupid bitch doing?
Graft you knew.
At the helm.
Wait, I've never seen my Sahwa do that before.
I won't back to suffering. Transcends.
I just got a disease, bro. Wait, what even was that? Like, I, like, did the dodge? Nah, I literally got a disease from that one. Bro, I hate this stupid false sovereign boss so much. He is literally like, this has to be the most diseased floor 4 they've ever done. Because I don't even think anyone is used to this guy's, like, moveset, bro.
A change of perception.
In the limelight.
I don't think anyone's even used to it. Yo, can you guys permaban Frozen Wolf? Thank you. Yeah, that guy has been announcing his departure for like 5 minutes for some reason. Yeah, just permaban him. Yeah, just permaban him. I have no idea why one person would be announcing their departure this many times. Just get him out. Like, imagine being that desperate for attention. You say, see ya, I'm leaving 4 different times.
More passion. Pew, pew.
And guys, you know why? It's because of ads. When we have ad-free viewing on Kick.
Let the flames rise.
For ads, when we have ad-free viewing on Kick.
More passion. Parry. Listen carefully. Nice try. Same actor. Different
Bro, that
role.
shit is so pathetic, it's unreal.
Shackles be gone.
This team isn't clearing. I mean, honestly, it's just these bosses being some of the biggest menaces in the game for sure. Yeah, this guy just jumps around so much. On characters that kind of like require, right, their forte to build up and stuff like Brant, it's a bit rough. This is a bit more of like a boss issue.
Perfect finale. No little mishap.
Like, okay, like right over there, right? Oh, yeah, we got a way better time on the previous one.
Ordained.
We got a way better time. Yeah, the teleportation is just a little bit bullshit, man.
Iron graft you knew.
Epic shot.
A change of perception.
Oh my gosh, how did...
At the helm. the flames rise.
Honestly, just reset. I do want to see where we end up, though.
No worries. Same actor, different
Vow
role.
from the soul.
I do want to see where we end up, though. You know what? I realize this is a really pointless struggle for us because the bosses are so bad. What if we just went against... this is gonna be my take overall on the situation. Those characters are both basically at near max level of investment. It's pretty fair to say that the builds between these two were essentially almost roughly the same in terms of having like insane echo rolls.
Fine day.
Right? I don't think any of us can deny that this is crazy. That's pretty good too. These are all like solid builds. All like very strong, all very solid builds. And I'm making sure I'm even like not overcapping using SK either. Yeah, I think that's fair to say, right? I miss some of my crit rates just to make sure I'm not overcapping. And so it's kind of like yeah, because with Shorekeeper, I'm obviously like 97.5%. I think it's kind of just at the point where I'm just going to say Brant, with at least the investment that I see, I think he's just better, bro. Like, I don't know. Phoebe just seems like buns to me. Maybe I'm not playing her properly, but I don't know. I just don't like bro, she feels like so shit even while like using the signature, bro. Like, I don't know. I was doing like the dodge cancels and everything too. It just felt like there was no damage out there. So I think based off the experimentation and the fact that Brant actually cleared floor 3. I don't think Phoebe even clears floor 3. I think both of them don't clear floor 4 for sure. And I think Brant, the only reason why he can't clear is because that shit moves around too much. And again, it's just a competition between these two for last place. It's okay, though, because we got another competitor for last place. And Rossia's going to share the Zani category because Roccia has another massive issue with her. She's like Cantarella, but like worse. At least Cantarella has the slight benefit of healing. All Roccia does is just like be worse than Sanhua and be a Giga Premium Phrolova support if Quiyuan is busy elsewhere. That is Roccia's only purpose. And as you can see, there's no value at all for a free-to-play because Sanhua's literally better at all the teams Roccia was designed for. Yeah, I think that's just... We don't need to talk about that one too much. There's a reason why she's at the bottom of basically every tier list. Now, we're going to have Carlotta. And this is maybe going to piss some people off. I think Carlotta, oddly enough, is probably at the bottom of B right now. And the reason for that is simple. Carlotta feels like she needs a premium sub DPS to operate properly. And a premium sub DPS that she needs is either Lynae or a Zhezhi. And if you don't have one of those for her, what's going on here? Tao Chi. Do you think Carlotta Tao Chi is regularly clearing floor 4 nowadays? Is Carlotta Tao Chi regularly clearing floor 4 nowadays? No. No, not really, no. So, that's the thing. Carlotta has good team options for sure, but is she better than a Galbrena? With those premium options, I don't think so. And I think the main thing is that we don't really have a good resonant skill 4-star buffer. If we did, Carlotta would definitely be higher because Carlotta also benefits the same way that Galbrena benefits, right, from this amazing standard weapon. It's very, very, very strong. But the thing is, like I mentioned before, if you're going to be having premium options available to units, where in this situation, right, with Carlotta, you really want either of these two for her to feel particularly good. And that's going to be a combination of one of these guys. And if you don't have them, then, well, it's not really going to feel that strong. Bu Ling. Great, guys. Bu Ling fills the fucking support slot on the team. Yes, I said, who's the sub DPS? Yes, I asked you who's the sub DPS. She's the 3rd slot. And nobody has this unit at S6 anyways, unless you have Giga rolled on the Sigrika banner. Who free-to-play has an S6 Bu Ling? And this is also the other thing, guys. Tao Chi is kind of copium. Yes, I've used her before when their shields were shielded in the TOA. Tao Chi is copium because her S6 sucks dick. Her S6 is fucking terrible compared to pretty much every other 4-star in the game. They all buff attack by 20%. She gives herself a 40% damage buff on her basic and heavy attacks. So that's the issue, is that Carlotta does not have a, like, good 4-star alternative. And so, literally, I'm telling you that she's incredibly strong, with a Lynae or a Zhezhi, but she doesn't have a good 4-star. And if she does have a Lynae or Zhezhi, well, a unit like Galbrena is simply better with a premium option. You do realize she's still in B, right? You do realize that there's only a couple of DPS units above her, right? Wait, what are people freaking out about? Like, are you guys thinking that she's in, like, C or D? What is going on here? Like, look who's above her. You have Galbrena, Carte, Sigrika, and Aemeath, and Phrolova and Luuk. Those are the DP and Augusta. Those are the people above her. Why are you schizoing out so fucking hard? Who's freaking out? Have you been reading the fucking chat? Have you guys been reading the chat? She literally has only these units above her, and people are acting like putting her in B is like a sin. Stop being retarded. Like, what are you guys even schizoing out about? What are you guys even schizoing out about? I don't know. Don't worry. There will be plenty more DPS characters that will show up here. And remember, this is for free-to-play value. I don't think Tao Chi and recommending Tao Chi is a great idea when so many other attack buffers like Mortefi and Sanhua are just better. Jesus Christ. And people say S6 bullying. Just ban those people, bro. What the fuck? Who the fuck has an S6 bullying free-to-play? All right. Now we got Camellya. Camellya's kind of just like an interesting phenomenon because Camellya is surprisingly very good at Whimpering Wastes, but it also begs the question of, damn, her sub DPS options are fucking horrible. And so Camellya's able to, basically Camellya feels like a blend of Luuk and Phrolova, where she is kind of able to be a worse version of Luuk in TOA, and she's able to be a worse version of Phrolova in TOA. And so kind of like the end result is that, unfortunately, because she doesn't have a real sub DPS and she's forced to use Sanhua, Camellya ends up feeling like she is signature reliant. While other characters would have expansion options to make them less signature reliant by putting in better teammates, Camellya's better teammate is Roccia, who's a steaming pile of shit. So that is Camellya's upgrade, this dog shit unit that you don't even use her with. You just use a Sanhua instead. And unfortunately, with Sanhua not really being a damage dealer, Camellya's gotten to the point where she feels like she is signature reliant. But when Camellya does have her Sig with a Sanhua, she's able to go in and still clear TOA and also still clear Whimpering Waste. She's better in Whimpering Waste, though, now than she is in TOA for sure. And so I guess the thing is that nowadays, I don't know if she can truly be recommended anymore. I think she's actually going to be our first C-rated DPS for now. Yeah, I think she's actually going to be our first. I think she still can find use. I think she still can find use for sure, but it's kind of just like, well, she just feels worse than both of these characters at a baseline. Yeah, I don't know. I think, like, yeah, I don't know. Her AoE is kind of good in Whimpering Waste. True. But I still don't really recommend her that anybody, like, pull her right now when you could just, I don't know, go get an Augusta or something. You could go get, like, a Sigrika or something. You could go get so many other characters or something. And it's like, yeah, she has a cheap team, but it's also, like, the ceiling on it feels really low. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have that much confidence in her anymore, even though she can use EOG. It's just her sub DPS isn't strong enough with her using EOG to clear. And that's just how it is. She can do like floors 1 and 2 with EOG, but yeah, I think it's a bit rough. Shorekeeper. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Like, this is still the most timeless unit in the game because you just put a variation on her and then go buff crit and buff attack with her. Yeah, I mean, do I even need to say anything? We could just move on, right? Zhang Liao. This is the sort of situation. Zhang Liao has gotten stronger with Lynae, and he has gotten stronger with the standard option, but if you're using Lynae with Zhang Liao, you're not using Lynae with a bunch of other units in the game. And as like a free-to-play, it's probably just better to pull a unit that's better with 4-star options. And Zhang Liao doesn't really have any good 4-star options. He has Jian Xin as a standard buffer. Zhang Liao Jian Xin is not a team. It's shit. So, like, yeah, this is entirely a result of him not really having the highest motion values ever as a 1.x character, and also not having any 4-star options at all. Let's be real here. And now, Zhezhi. Zhezhi might as well have the partner tag, because she only works with 2 units in the game, Carlotta and Jinhsi. That's kind of like just it. If you use Zhezhi in any other teams, you're fucking griefing. Yeah, you're just fucking griefing, bro. And I think that's a reality that most people gotta recognize. And the end result is that Zhezhi's also not a character that does any damage at all. But at least I mean, she might belong in D, to be honest. Yeah, I guess she could be here. Yeah, I guess she could be there. Zhezhi's just not a really good pull. And that's also one of the reasons why Carlotta gets dragged down on the tier list, is because Zhezhi is a really bad pull, but if you've had her, well, she still feels like a strong unit to use, as long as she's in the right team. However, only the Carlotta team actually feels that good with Zhezhi right now. So it's kind of just like, I can't really recommend that anybody pull her at the moment, unless you are really looking for a teammate for the Montelli. And that's kind of like it, because Zhezhi has this very, very nice quality of life thing with her giving ER, is that Carlotta only needs one ER roll to work with her, and you can Giga optimize her build, and then, of course, the outro is, like, strong. So, yeah, she's Carlotta reliant. While Carlotta is not reliant on her, Carlotta can also use Lynae. So, yeah. Changli! What are we doing here? This is probably the worst free-to-play unit on the roster from the perspective of, like, bro, she must be used with another DPS character, or she's used in Mono Fusion, but she's the most replaceable member of Mono Fusion. She is literally one of the worst picks somebody can have in the game, because she just requires you to have quick swap and a bunch of investment on your other teammates. That's it. And so, like, for a free-to-play player in 2026 that doesn't have her, if anyone's recommending you get her, you're griefing. You're just griefing at this point. I don't think there's any real argument we need to have. And yes, my Mono Fusion team will clear. They're all S0 R1, but that's 3 premium units with their 3 signature weapons. And that's the truth of it. Jinhsi. Bro, she's so bad, it's unbelievable. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Zhang Liao is actually more useful than her. Jinhsi is kind of at the point where she's gotten no assistance at all. She needs her 50% resonance skill outro buffer with coordinated attacks, but they don't want to release it. Bro, just give her a Iuno who buffs resonance skill by 50% and then has coordinated attacks that aren't spectro. Where? Where is it? And second, right? Where are her free-to-play sub DPSs? Where is the... Remember the Carlotta situation where it's rough because you don't have a 4-star resonance skill? Bro, where's the 4-star coordinated attacker? You're gonna still be using Yan Wu? Bro, if you're recommending you use Yan Wu, your mind is cooked. When's the last time you even saw that character on a TOA clear? If you're talking about using Yan Wu, just shut the fuck up, bro. That shit isn't even real anymore. It's not real. Don't even talk about it. And Yinlin? What are we still doing here, man? Are we joking? Are we actually just joking right now? No, bro. No, Yinlin is not even a unit. Her weapon String Master is, but Yinlin is not. I don't think... Nobody should be pulling her under any circumstance until she gets buffed. And if she never gets buffed, just don't fucking pull her. And now, we have the Jiyan situation, ladies and gentlemen. And I think this is one thing that's abundantly clear. After we've gone ahead, we kind of taken a look at everything. I think Jiyan actually probably has a combination of the best current free-to-play team. I think this is actually the best 1.x team right now. If you're going to count 4-star units, he's got the best one out of the bunch. And going outside of free-to-play, he also has, like, the best... mono arrow team as well, but this one's not actually free to play. And so it just in terms of like value to your account, well, I'm gonna be real, guys, right? I mean, wait, let's see if he still clears Weewa. I'm gonna use him first sight on Weewa and just see what happens. What is he capable of on first sight with a Mortefi? I feel like it's not gonna be that good, but we'll see. I feel like it's gonna be some shit, but we'll see. Oh, this Weewa is brain damaged though, so maybe that's gonna be a bit of a barrier for us. Oh, this is gonna be fucking wild, bro. Oh lord. And I guess we just gotta get this Reveler's token. Yeah. Weewa is basically known as being a bunch of doo-doo water, right? If you don't have the right stuff.
Leave it to me. Stay calm. Loading.
Ready for battle. Let's do this wide open.
And you're probably noticing, right? This is a fucking disaster right now. That's because I don't have any energy.
Unstoppable.
to me. Letting war with time.
Yeah. Honestly, that could have been worse, though.
As you wish.
I'm actually surprised that one actually wasn't like the most dog shit thing I've ever seen.
Burn! Silence! Let's do this another for battle.
Oh dear, are the reindeers prancing? Oh, Dasher and Baxter and whoever the fuck their names are. Yeah, they're prancing for sure.
Oath from the heart.
Yeah, they're prancing for sure. That's not very good. Yeah, honestly, I don't think this guy's even playable on first sight anymore nowadays. This looks really bad. This looks really bad.
Burn to ashes. Let's do this another way. Unstop.
I think he needs to be played second side. He definitely has no chance without like the ER and stuff at the beginning for sure. Yeah, that's not happening. And that does also require you to have your signature too. However, if we are thinking about like ceiling and whether or not you can still invest in a fucking unit, I think he just at a baseline needs to be rated higher than Camellya. I think that's what it needs to be because we need to factor in where the ceiling of these units are as well. His free-to-play team can at least still clear some sections of TOA, and he has the highest ceiling out of pretty much all the 1.x characters. She's stuck with Roccia. Her shit is cooked. Just wrap it up. Her best teammate is Zhezhi. Wrap it up. His best teammate is Lynae, but it's still not even that good. And so I guess Jiyan's just going to be the best overall, but I'm not going to go ahead and say that he's somebody that's like Giga must pull. Like, let's be real here. Let's see who's below him. You got Camellya, Chisa, Zhezhi, Cantarella. What on this list is more valuable? What below him is more valuable than him? How about that? If he doesn't belong here, who below him should be above? Answer that question then, retard. Who below him should be above him then? If you're calling bullshit and you're saying not good, who below him should be above? Oh, you don't have any answers now, huh? Oh, but you're saying, oh, Unk, that's incorrect. You're incorrect, but I don't have any response for who below him should be above him. So he's actually in the right fucking spot. I think Camellya's better. Guys, the ceiling is also factored in because free-to-play means that you got to consider where the characters can go. Remember when I said that one of the reasons for why this character is not rated as highly is because she kind of only has other arrow teams that she can work in, and the other arrow teams are Giga Premium? That's the same sort of thing. It's like the only reason why Jiyan is above Camellya over here is because there's no other options for anybody else on the roster. There's just nothing. And so, part of being a free-to-play is also deciding, hey, is this unit going to be worth it to upgrade a lot of teams to the next level? And guess what? When you buy or pull Jiyan's upgrades, you end up upgrading the entire arrow attribute as a whole because he's arrow. So that just inherently gives him more value than getting a fucking Camellya upgrade because she doesn't have any. And guess what? Jiyan's value also grows with other characters that you pull to build other teams. You pulled Iuno for your Augusta team? Great, your Jiyan got a buff. You pulled Ciaccona for your Carte team? Great, Jiyan got a buff. And that's also built into the rating. Yeah, you lost me? Okay, so is that just an announcement that you're retarded? Okay, so this is just an announcement that you're retarded. Like, you don't understand that by pulling Ciaccona for your Cartithia, you make Jiyan stronger. That's too hard to understand for you. So you're saying you would recommend people to get Jiyan on his rerun? I would recommend Jiyan over any of these units. That is the point of this. I would recommend Jiyan over any of these units. What kind of retarded question is, would you recommend Jiyan? This is a tier list where he's literally in like the bottom fucking half of characters. He's showing up in C at the bottom half of the units, and you're asking if I would recommend you pull him. Look at where he is. You're calling this a recommendation. when he's here. You guys are out here complaining about the placement of somebody in the bottom half of the tier list. You literally saw him in the bottom half of the tier list, and you said, oh, so you're recommending that you should pull him. Oh, then he would be here. That if I was recommending people to pull him, he'd be here. But I placed him literally down here. So asking the question, are you recommending people pull him? You know you're just rage baiting at that point. So why wouldn't I just ban you? Anyways, hopefully that makes it a lot more clear where all the limited units stand. And so free to play doesn't necessarily mean never pulling. And you also got to factor when it comes to free to play characters, how much their value can grow over time, as well as the immediate value that you have on the account when you pull them. And the fair thing to say is that every character that you see in tier S, when you pull them, everything changes on your account. You can pull them and then immediately have or see some sort of meaningful impact. Maybe not Quiyuan until you but his buffs are just so fucking strong, he has to be tier S. The only character up here that doesn't immediately plug and play is Quiyuan, but he does if you have any echo skill damage dealer, and there are 3 of them in the fucking game, and they're all high value units, right? So it's there's a good chance Quiyuan is a plug and play, changes everything. Units in A over here, we only have 2 of them. It's Aemeath and Sigrika. And the only thing holding these guys back is the fact that they basically just require some sort of premium partner to function at all. They're not really characters that have 4-star options, but they have some of the highest damage in the game. And then in B are the characters that come with a lot of restrictions or just feel like worse versions of other characters, right? Carte needs Ciaccona and her weapon. Iuno requires having Augusta to basically feel like a tier 0 sub DPS, and without her, she kind of doesn't. And then Iuno also feels like she needs Lynae if she wants to be a DPS, right? Then Galbrena just feels like a worse version of Sigrika or Aemeath. Then you got Mornye, who requires other tuned characters to have a kit. And then Carlotta, very, very, very strong still, but still needs Lynae or Zhezhi to get much done. And then Brant, right? I'm gonna be real here. I look at all these other guys. I think he's a better DPS than everybody else on here. So what crack are we smoking? Yeah, why are you I'm looking over here, just main DPS wise, I do think he clears better than the rest of these guys. Lupa and Ciaccona, on the other hand, they're simply here because they kind of they need mono teams, and mono teams are fucking expensive. What do you want me to say? Mono teams are expensive. They both have their free-to-play options, but it's they're expensive. And hey, guys, have you ever seen this thing before? Yeah, this is going to blow your mind. Yeah, this is going to blow your mind. You know, there's this thing called attributes in this game. And so when you have a mono team, sometimes they're literally unplayable. Were you guys aware of that? So if it says all fusion over here, then you can't use the mono fusion team here. And so that actually makes mono teams lower value. Did you guys know that? I don't think some of you did. It's the same thing with all arrow enemies as well. Yeah, it doesn't work, so that's why mono teams are actually kind of bad for free-to-plays, because great, now your 3 limited characters that you pulled aren't good. And guess what? Even if the enemies are arrow-resistant, most of the time you can use Quiyuan, because then you could just slot in Galbrena or Phrolova instead of your Sigrika with your Quiyuan. And your Quiyuan doesn't really deal that much damage as a sub-DPS anyways, and so great, your Quiyuan is still usable into mono arrow, or into arrow resistance. Oh, wow! Oh, who could have thought? Well, if they resist your main DPS, you're screwed anyways. Yeah, that's why mono teams are not good, because they require your sub DPS and your main DPS to be the same. Why'd you add a but onto your statement like I was wrong? Yeah, that's what but is supposed to mean. But never mind. Bro, so many chatters like to backseat like they are adding helpful information. It's actually, just shut the fuck up, bro. Anyways, and then we basically just have, after Ciaccona, a bunch of doo-doo water units. With Jiyan probably being the least doo-doo water out of all of them, because at least he has potential to grow. And of course, these units, they easily jump in tiers the more you invest in these. But right off rip, assuming you don't have a lot going, yeah, I'm not going to tell somebody to just start pulling Lupa or start pulling Ciaccona. I would much rather recommend them units up here that are going to be way stronger with way less resources required. And that's kind of the situation. Oh, yeah, by the way, you guys ever think about it this way? Lupa's best partner is Brant, who requires a Sig. Ciaccona's best partner is Cartithia, who requires her Sig. Quiyuan supports 2 characters that don't require their signature. Very, very, very well. And then the third one, Phrolova, yeah, she does require a signature, but then she doesn't need him. So it's kind of like, yeah. The most thing people are probably going to be upset by is Quiyuan. But, yeah, I don't know any other character that supports the best units in the game like this. Or, like, the strongest overall DPSs in the game like this. Like who else does that? Again, Sigrika is the overall strongest DPS that we have in the game. Quiyuan needs to go down to A, since he isn't as flexible as Lynae. Lynae's only flexible with Mornye. Yeah, you do realize that, right? Otherwise, Lynae is just like a worse option than most other characters. Yeah, her flexibility comes from the wheelchair, which, that requires Mornye. So, well, Quiyuan has never needed a specific healer ever. So, yeah. That's going to be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I know this was a bit long. We're probably going to cut out some of the gameplay and stuff to make it a bit shorter. But yeah, that is going to be the free-to-play 3.2 limited 5-star tier list special edition over here. And hopefully that can guide you on your pulling journey as you go through, well, all the stuff during the 2nd anniversary. Let me know what you people thought. Peace out.